Hello and welcome to this special one-hour edition of Media Week. I'm Ingrid Willinge. Ahead on the program, we'll speak with MCN CEO Anthony Fitzgerald on his game-changing part in the deal between Foxtel and Ten. Also, Rupert Murdoch confirming he'll step down as CEO of 21st Century Fox on July 1. And we'll talk media reforms and why they could be off the table. That's all coming up this hour. First up, though, the deal between Network 10 and Foxtel has been in the spotlight this week, thanks to 8 months of negotiations and a deal finally being announced. Foxtel will take a stake of up to 15% in 10 Network, both worth about $77 million. It's part of a broader move by 10 to raise up to $154 million to strengthen its finances and invest in content. Another vital part of the puzzle is 10 taking a 25% stake in multi-channel network, Foxtel's $500 million advertising business, appointing the company as a sales rep to gain scale and reduce costs. 10 will also have an option for 2 years to become a 10% shareholder in Presto, Foxtel and Seven's joint venture streaming video on demand service. Well, for more, we're about to speak to MCN's Anthony Fitzgerald, but first, let's bring in our co-host, editor and publisher of Mediaweek, James Manning, in the studio with me. James, great to have your company on the show on such a busy week for the media, really.
Yeah, it's incredible, isn't it? Lots of big announcements.
Lots of big announcements. This one's been a long time coming, the Foxtel and 10 deal. What do you make of it? Because originally it might have been an all-in takeover of 10. Didn't end up being the case.
Yeah, it looked like Discovery might have been in the mix there in the beginning or at some stage. We've never really had any confirmation of anybody about Discovery's interest in the thing, but it was good to see get this across the line. What does it mean for Foxtel? It gives them a seat at the free-to-air table, I guess, which they haven't had so far. And the big thing is maybe sports rights, you know,
yeah.
A combo between Foxtel and 10. If they bid for something that's on the anti-siphoning list, they can really manage how that, they can make a bid for 100% and then play out how that some of those games get on to whatever has to be shown on free-to-air.
CEO of Foxtel, Richard Freudenstein, saying it's a win-win for both. Do you agree with that? Is it a win for 10 and for Foxtel?
Well, I think so, yeah. I mean, 10 was in need of some new funding. They get some new expertise. They get maybe some content deals. We've seen the groundbreaking, if you like, deal on Gogglebox, jointly funded by 10 and Foxtel, shown first on Foxtel. 10 gets it the next night. The ratings for both parties seem to be pretty good. We can definitely see that being ramped up. And again, it all comes back to sports rights again too. It could be a win for both of them on that.
It's all about sports rights these days. Of course, it does need ACCC approval, so we're waiting for that. But for the multi-channel side of the deal, a bit of background on that. It's already responsible for the advertising interests of 68 subscription television channel brands, 122 websites and other apps and services alongside. It will now add 15 10 network channels and 10 Play. So let's bring in Anthony Fitzgerald, CEO now of multi-channel network MCN. Anthony, thank you so much for your time on what I'm sure is a very busy week for you. Why does this deal make sense now?
That's a very good and simple question. Why? I think we've got to go back a step and look at what's happening across the entire media landscape. It's both here and globally, the media landscape is changing at breakneck speed. And that's certainly the case when it comes to television. Viewing behaviour is changing. The advertising models are starting to change. People are time-shifting viewing. We all are aware of that. Locally here in Australia, of course, over the last few years, we've been fragmenting our own audience delivery through the launch of the free-to-air multi-channels and additional channels on our platform. And, of course, in more recent times, the launch of Presto and Stan and Netflix coming into the market. So the total marketplace is changing and changing quickly. But I think the thing that's central to all of this is that the vast majority of video viewing that's occurring today is still broadcast quality, television-led content across all platforms and devices. But with the change in behaviour means we have to start thinking differently. And if we don't, then the business model, as it is today, will come under increasing pressure and will continue to see erosion of audiences and revenue. So we have to think differently. I think it was the legendary Jack Welch who once said that if the rate of change on the outside of a business is greater than the rate of change on the inside, then the end is near. And I actually think this is the combination of 10 and MCN is one of the most progressive deals that we've seen in the television marketplace for a very long time.
Yep. So you think it had to happen, but
I do think it had to happen, and I think that the marketplace has to continue to evolve from here and look for new advertising models and look for new opportunities.
But in that little, you set it up then saying all the challenges of face TV, it was almost seemed like an argument not to do it. I mean, you were off onto the side selling subscription TV, maybe getting some advertisers drifting away from free-to-air because of environment or whatever else. But now you've got to backtrack a little bit and say, well, no, hang on a minute, there's a place for both of us.
Well, we're looking at this as an opportunity to, again, not to just put free-to-air television, subscription television together, but we're looking at this as a way to totally disrupt the marketplace. You know, we want to look at a way to disrupt the disruptors. We want to bring an all-of-video approach to the marketplace that really strengthens our proposition, and putting 10 and Foxtel together, along with all of our online video inventory, creates an all-of-video approach to the marketplace. And I think this is a really groundbreaking move, and provides that opportunity to start to think differently and to think in a more innovative way about taking television advertising to the marketplace.
But how big are revenues will you be riding? Ingrid talked about, what, $500 million MCN business, 10's over that, I guess.
Yes.
So you're talking more than $1 billion.
Yes.
How big a part of that was this deal, and is making the savings very important to you guys?
Look, scale is important today. As we know, the vast majority of the advertising industry is controlled by 4 major agency groups globally. So scale is important, but that wasn't the principal purpose of doing this deal. This is, in my view, this is pro-competition. This makes Channel 10 more competitive against the 7 and 9 networks, who have been dominant now for the last 5 or 6, 7 or 8 years. So I think that scale part of it is important, but I think more importantly is the ability to provide a new approach to television advertising, mass targeting, if you like. With the combination of 10 and MCN, we now have the mass, we have that mass reach capability, but we also have much greater targeting capability. So we can reach a mass audience, but we can be much more targeted in the approach in which we take to achieve that outcome. And I think that's where the marketplace is starting to look, and that's why online and online video has been growing so strongly, is that ability to target and to provide greater accountability.
Are there somewhat synergies, though, through the merger between you and 10 that does create cost savings? I mean, in terms of, I guess, the aim of the deal, as you sort of said, James, to create revenue, are cost savings a big part of the business model as well? So,
first and foremost, in this transaction, you know, the people are our highest priority, and the way in which we service the market is our highest priority, and we will structure our business jointly to ensure that there is no reduction in our service capability within the market. In fact, our goal is to actually improve that significantly. And look, it's still early days. We're working through the transition phase, and you know, we'll work through that over the coming week or 10 days.
If scale is important, how much bigger could MCN get? Is this it? I mean, have you got too much here almost to manage, or would you make it,
James? You know that.
Would you make a pitch to Southern Cross Austereo, Grant Blackley, and say, look, why aren't we selling 10 regional as well?
Look, all I'll say there is that as a business, we will continue to look for growth opportunities as we have done in the past, and frankly, not just in television. So again, back to the central point, this is an all-of-video play. And our business has been founded in video for the last 10 years. And video, look, at the end of the day, the video model globally is winning. People are spending more time with video content than they ever have before, just across multiple devices. So, and if the vast majority of that content is television-led, then this is a brilliant time to be in television. But for us, it's not just television-focused, it's an all-of-video proposition.
Now, when we hear about selling, you know, we hear subscription TV being sold perhaps more on environment, whereas free-to-air seems to be more about pure audience numbers. Is this a challenge to sort of merge the two? I mean, do you agree with that? And how do you merge those two propositions together?
Well, firstly, I don't agree with that. If we think back 10 years, you know, there was probably 100 programs on free-to-air television delivering 1 million viewers, and now there's a handful. It's not a pure mass play. There are many programs and day parts on free-to-air television and on the secondary and tertiary channels that deliver fantastic quality audiences in much smaller numbers. That is targeted, that is environment. And then if you look at the Foxtel platform and what we sell on their behalf as the multi-channel network, that's even more targeted, and the audience is a higher value consumer. And if you put those two things together, then it is that combination again of mass and targeting. And that's what advertisers are looking for.
What happens to that sort of the free TV body, if you like, who, you know, is there going to be some sort of conflict there between, you know, Foxtel 10 and 7 and 9 over here, if you like, and their, you know, regional affiliates, I guess. I mean, for example, they like publishing their subscription TV figures once a week to show the market how small some of them are compared to theirs. I'm
hopeful that collectively we can change that. I think that the free-to-air guys, I know they are supportive of changing that. I've been talking about this forever, since I left Channel 7, that as an industry we should come together and promote the power of television. It is still, in my opinion, the most powerful medium in the world on so many levels, and we need to more effectively promote that. So this deal in itself, by the very nature of it, changes that prospect. This is about buying free-to-air and subscription television together. So in essence, it must change, and I think that the industry is supportive of that.
You recently launched your landmark programmatic platform. What is the time frame to get all the 10 inventory on board there?
That's a good question.
Time frame?
As quickly as possible. It's a bit too early yet to call.
Yeah.
You know, as of a week ago, we were fierce.
You had a bit of time to look at it, though, haven't you?
Yes, but not on their side. So,
okay,
you know, as of a week ago, we were fierce competitors, and now we're partners. So we need to actually get into 10 and have a look at their operations and their systems. But our system is built with a very clever piece of tech that sits between our platform and all of our other channel partners that we call the hub, believe it or not. And that's a very, very clever piece of tech that changes files into a file that's readable by Landmark and vice versa. So we are a long way down the path, but there is some development to undertake, and we're yet to see what that development is. But we will be prioritising this and accelerating that.
Does that in itself give you a revenue edge? You know, if a media buyer can sit down and go, OK, look, I can just call this up and I've got 10 and I've got every subscription TV channel, except maybe a couple, and I can just use that. And they're going to go, it's just easier for me to use this. And
look, I think if you look at the response to our market release last Friday on programmatic TV, the response from the agencies and the industry has been nothing but positive and supportive of this move. So I think it is a competitive advantage. I think it's a real opportunity, and it is part of one of the reasons why the combination of MCN and 10 will be very powerful as a proposition in the marketplace. So I think it does give us that competitive edge.
Although it's not necessarily expected, if the ACCC was to sort of stop any merger between Foxtel and 10, your deal with 10 is still binding, right?
That's correct.
So no difference at all?
None.
All right.
And just quickly about multi-view too, because free-to-air is used to just the OzTam ratings, but you really go a step beyond that, don't you, with a pretty big panel?
Yeah. So the multi-view panel is 110,000 households, and that's about 85 times larger than the 85 times larger than the OzTam panel for measuring subscription TV. And of course, we have all of the other data overlay that we get from Quantium. So it's a very powerful, very rich data set, and advertisers are increasingly using that data across everything that we do. And of course, we can now look at Channel 10's viewing in Foxtel homes through the set-top box and apply the same data overlay. So it gives us that great targeting capability with a much richer, deeper data set and consumer segmentation, which again is a competitive advantage. It's something that 10 was very keen to take advantage of as part of this deal.
No doubt you've got some exciting times ahead. Anthony, thank you so much for joining us on the show today.
Good to be here, thanks.
Anthony Fitzgerald there, CEO of Multi-Channel Network. We do have to take a quick break. Up next, though, we'll get a broader insight into how that deal might affect the media landscape going forward. That's coming up.